Okay, so is bankruptcy a shield? Can corporate defendants use federal bankruptcy to shield themselves from legal peril? The Supreme Court will consider this question in the coming weeks. So the main case at issue here is the high-profile OxyContin manufacturer Purdue Pharma and the billionaire Sackler family that once controlled it. The main question in Harrington versus Purdue Pharma is whether or not the Sacklers can use bankruptcy to protect their personal fortunes from future opioid-related liabilities. So it's good to know that we have a JD on the panel today. But what are your thoughts?
This is an interesting case. This bankruptcy case, I don't think there's any question about Purdue Pharma. They can use whatever is available to them on the corporate side, but the family with their team of attorneys is trying to extend that to shield their personal fortune. It'll be interesting to see, because they're going to argue it was one and the same. We own the company.
Sure.
They're going to basically argue that the lines, it was a blurred line. Yeah. We were them, they were us. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what the bankruptcy laws were intended. Now, the intent of the bankruptcy laws, and I'm not a bankruptcy attorney,
right,
were intended to protect companies.
Right.
I mean, I don't think anybody's going to argue with that. What they're going to argue is it should be extended essentially because
this opens a can of worms, in my opinion.
100%.
The one thing about the United States, which is interesting, we're, I believe, the only country in the world that does not have tort reform, meaning you can sue for whatever you want for as much as you want.
Absolutely.
And, the McDonald's, the famous McDonald's coffee case.
Yes.
Where the
$5 million.
There's more attorney billboards driving down the highway.
Oh, man. It's crazy. And it's a little bit of a joke worldwide. When I was over in Europe, and they would make fun of us for that. And there's a part of me that totally agrees with making fun of us for that, right?
Yeah.
This, to me, is a byproduct of not having any protection on the limit. You can sue for whatever reason, for however, and so if they go beyond the corporation and they are able to go attack so for example, if you slip and fall at Walmart, can you go after the Walton family now? You know what I'm saying? Like this is now going to get kind of hairy, in my opinion.
Yes. Now, the Sacklers really did control.
Sure. Oh yeah, 100%.
Purdue Pharma. Walmart. The Waltons don't really control Walmart anymore.
I know, bad example, I guess,
but I mean, you could stretch it to any number of companies, large and very small.
It's a slippery slope.
And I think that's what the Supreme Court is having to decide.
This particular case, there's a documentary out there.
Mm-hmm. It's a good one.
Yeah. And
what's
we watched,
called?
I forgot what it's called.
I can't remember. But
on Netflix.
It was so good. Yes. We remember nothing about it, but it was good. I watched it, and this is a sensitive case because it was such a devastating and impactful thing across the country that impacted so many families in such a negative way. So we don't want to discount that or make light of that.
No doubt.
And the Sackler family was in control, and I think is
responsible.
Yeah. But that's separate from the precedent that is set depending on what the Supreme Court says or does for opening up cases, like you said, with smaller issues that people are just money hungry and like, we're going to go and sue everyone from the corporation to the executives to the controlling families to whoever they can. And that's the part that we have to be careful with.
I know.
And what the plaintiffs, I guess will argue, is that the family was basically making the decisions.
Yeah.
And they should not have a shield placed on them. So
I know it's an interesting case.
is the name of the show.
Okay.
Painkiller. Okay, perfect.
Makes sense.
I'd love to watch it, and I am going to watch it.
It's on Netflix.
But I think this goes back to, if there's simple things that could help solve some of these things, like, obviously if they are, I don't disagree that the Sackler family maybe in this case is responsible for some of this stuff, right? And they should have damages and whatever they get, whatever. But if we had tort reform, we had a line in the sand, right? It would protect. I guess that would protect everybody else from getting frivolously sued all the time, which is what I wish would happen, in addition to maybe going a step further to go after these. Does that make sense?
But then you take the opposite. If corporations are protected by, they could just file bankruptcy and get shielded, and if truly people were harmed, where's their recourse? Who do
No
they
doubt.
go after
No doubt.
when you got a family sitting over here worth billions?
Yep.
So I'm not saying
well,
that's right
yeah,
or wrong.
No, I know what you
But
mean.
just because
Yeah.
they file for bankruptcy doesn't mean it has to be
Granted.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's true,
But
too.
no, yeah.
It's a touchy subject,
and
right?
that,
This
and
is
that's
why we're not Supreme Court justices right here.
we're not wearing black robes. But I mean that is going to
Yeah.
be the crux of this argument.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
if I'm the plaintiff's attorney, my client's due to some relief.
This is
right.
it's not a simple solve.
I'll be interested in the
The Supreme
result.
Court's got
Yeah.
some
We'll circle back to
big
it when we
cases in front
see
of it.
when
Yeah.
we see what
Yeah.
kind of comes of this.
Yeah.
We'll come back.